Welcome to Conservation Connection. We do exactly what it sounds like. We introduce you to people working in the field of conservation. I'm Sarah Catherine.
I'm Chance.
You'll be hearing a lot more from us as we move forward. We did a survey recently, and that's what you guys wanted.
But I gotta say, it's super flattering that the number one piece of feedback was we want to hear more from the hosts. We want to hear more about what you guys think, your opinions, your experiences. So moving forward, really excited. We're going to be talking, just the two of us, me and Sarah Catherine at the top of the show. You guys get to hear a lot more of our personalities as conservationists, as a married couple, as wild childs out here just trying to live our best lives.
So we hope you love that.
And if you don't, and our listenership just totally tanks, well, that's how the cookie crumbles.
We also have a couple other announcements that we want to make. We're going on a season break right now. You'll find us back here on April 2nd.
I really love the season that we just wrapped up. It was all about river conservation, kind of here local to us in Columbus, Georgia. We talked about how dams are affecting an endemic species of flower. We talked about a bunch of really cool stuff.
Crayfish.
What was your favorite, memory of recording this past season?
Well, we had an awesome opportunity to do our first fundraiser at Scofflaw Brewing here in Columbus, where we're based out of. That was
Columbus, Georgia.
Yeah, Columbus, Georgia, not Ohio. Sorry if you live there. We love you too. But that was a really cool opportunity just to see everybody come out and support us, and was really special. And of course, I always love talking to Dr. Keller, one of our guests this past season, and who's been on the show before. He spoke to us about crayfish this season, which is just always so fascinating.
If you're interested at all in asticology, the study of crayfish, just roll it back a couple of episodes and go listen to his most recent episode, because it was a super cool conversation we got to have with him. So moving forward, we're going on break, like she said, until April 2nd, and I'm super excited to come back with a bunch of stories about Atlantic coastal conservation. So our next couple of episodes are going to feature stories basically of how we can protect and restore the environments that we find in the American Southeast, specifically along the coastal plain. So we're talking oysters, we're talking sea turtles, we're talking whales.
Maybe lemurs if we're lucky.
If we're really lucky. There's a super cool... Anyway, you just have to tune in to find out. Maybe lemurs. So anyway, check back with us April 2nd for our next season.
We're also super excited to let y'all know that we will be going back to the EarthX conference this year. We absolutely love working with EarthX. It's always a blast. We meet such cool people. It was one of our very first seasons and a couple of episodes that we did as a new podcast. I think in our first year that we went there, we just went so hard and got 31 episodes or something.
Which was insane. I mean, looking back at how we recorded episodes back then versus our system now, I cannot believe that we were able to get that much content in that short of a time.
Yeah, we were okay, we have to record everyone who wants to be on the show. And we were if we can't get to you during the conference, we'll record in our hotel room, all of this crazy stuff. But anyway, EarthX is just a really amazing time. And if you're local to Dallas or you want to come to the area, we would definitely love to see you. Reach out to us on Instagram. Let us know that you want to go. We do have a discount code for our listeners that EarthX generously provided us. Chance, what is that?
So I'll say it right now, and you can also check out the show notes. If you're buying tickets, you can use the code EXGREEN20 to get 20% off the price of admission.
That's EXGREEN20, the number 20, not spelt out.
So check out the show notes. I've got it written down right there. So we're going to be there April 22nd through April 26th, recording episodes for a whole season. It's 5 days of conferences. It's a sustainability summit. So if you're just interested in what's going on in the world of conservation, which I suspect that people listening to the show might be, it's a great place to kind of get informed and be part of the conversation about some of the stuff. So they're covering a bunch of different topics. There's a conference about the built environment, one about the natural environment, e-capital if you're in the world of finance, which more power to you. I don't understand it, but it's very important. And then also stuff like oceans and conservation.
One of the really cool things about EarthX that we love is that they put a lot of value into bringing in people from different sides of the aisle, different sides of like the world, different like thoughts on conservation and the environment. So it's truly a conversation that goes on there.
Yeah, it's not an echo chamber, which I am not a hardline stance person on just about anything. But the one thing that I am pretty hardline on is that dividing people into two separate camps is the fastest way to stop a solution from happening. One of the really cool things that happens at EarthX is that they really try to bring people in, stakeholders from all points of view on a conversation. I mean, if we're talking energy, there's going to be people that are developing new wind turbines, and there's also going to be people from fossil fuel companies that are talking about how we can work together to make the future a better place.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories that I absolutely love from our very first experience with EarthX in 2019 is we had been running the podcast and the founder, Trammell Crow, was kind of running around doing things. And I saw him and I told Chance, hey, we have to go meet this guy and introduce ourselves. So we walked up and, started talking to him. And he told us like a big reason why they hold the conferences, like just this example of they were setting up and they'd set up a bunch of booths for like vendors and stuff that they had at their expo, which they won't have this year. It's kind of on a smaller scale, but in previous years they've brought in vendors and stuff, and they had this like Republican table and this Democratic table, and they put them side by side, and they each independently went up to the organizers and were like, hey, you put us next to, these other people and you have to move us. Like, that's not okay. And
we don't even want to exist next to these people.
Yeah, he was like, they were like, we don't agree. And Trammell was like, well, that's kind of the point. So figure it out. And by the end, they maybe still didn't agree on some things, but they
saw
could
each other
together.
They saw each other as human beings, right? And I think that's the first step in working together to create solutions, is just to break down those tribal barriers and say, look, we all want to have a clean earth for the next generation. That's an important thing. Whether you think that this technology or that technology is going to achieve that is not really substantial. We should start by finding what we agree on and work together from there. So that's, just in general, even well beyond EarthX, that's something that I personally try to promote. It's something that I hope that our show promotes. But super cool that we're getting to go back to EarthX and record with an organization that I really so strongly vibe with in that way.
Yeah, so we're super excited about that. Have plenty of other stories from it, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more after this year. If you want to go listen to any of our previous EarthX episodes, just scroll back in our podcast. They all have EarthX in the title, I believe, definitely in the show notes. So we've gotten some really interesting stories from there and are super excited to bring some more to you this year.
Yeah, and if you want to go learn a little bit more about their org, you can go visit their website, earthx.org. It's in the show notes. Scrolling down, you'll find it there. If you guys, while we're on a break, have questions, comments, anything that you want to tell us, feel free to reach out. You can find us on Instagram. We're pretty responsive there. And if you know anybody doing Atlantic coastal research, we would love to have that conversation about getting them on the show. So feel free to reach out. We're really excited to bring this next round of stories to you guys, and thank you for all the support over the years.
See you soon.